World Championship bid at that point, and he knew it. In monster truck competition, Jeff Vander debuted a brand new Jeep, this one called High Voltage. And at 13.59 seconds, he won the four-wheel drive division for monster trucks handily, even despite the bouncing that is notorious for that machine with its incredibly short wheelbase. However, he defeated Debbie Roden, a new lady driver in monster truck competition, at the wheel of Vayner's old hot stuff Jeep. Despite a best of 16.03 seconds, Debbie gave him a run for his money, without a doubt. Even taking the traditional wild ride with still a 98-inch wheelbase, four-wheel drive monster that weighs in at over 14,000 pounds. There was also a separate championship held for the monster tanks at Oklahoma City's Fairgrounds Arena, including the original tank machine, the first ever to use an Army M4 tank chassis and a full truck body, the Virginia Beach Beast. But it managed to accomplish what was seemingly unbeatable for the early half of the season. That was defeating Bob Chandler's Bigfoot Fast Tracks, which for the first time had longtime USHRA Association truck pulling champion Dan Dubes behind the wheel. This run-in with the mud pit certainly took its toll on the Bigfoot's elapsed time, and indeed put him in a solid second behind the Virginia Beach Beast. Still, Dubes wasn't one to kill the showmanship as well as the ET, as he spun it around and on the home stretch gave him this jump just for the fans with cameras. A tough landing and an incredible battle at Oklahoma City, Kelly.
Coming up, the final leg of the 1989 National Tour and the race to the World Championship. To a head at the end of the season, the final events were highlighted with the excitement that only comes from an all-out war for the world title.
Well, those last few events of the USHRA Association's 1989 Mud Racing and Monster Truck National Event Tour proved to be some of the most tension-filled we've ever experienced. Mark Greed and his incredible Mudbuster, the nitrous oxide-injected carbureted Jeep funny car that had run 2.14 seconds in Pontiac, Michigan, was trying to come up with the same kind of numbers at Cincinnati's Riverfront Coliseum. They left the starting line absolutely perfectly and stopped within 5 feet of that disqualification area that is now marked by a banner across the end of the track. 2.39 seconds, an excellent run on a rather slippery course. And then, of course, there was Mike Erdely and Mike Johns with the Mud Shark 64 Corvette back in one piece again, trying to put on the show and win the event. A nearly perfect run. Did he try to stop before the boundary? You bet. Putting it sideways, and by 0.04 of a second, Erdely goes to 35 for the #1 spot. But it didn't end there. Melvin Brown, we saw him in the Blue Max running 195, debuted a rear-engine 140-inch wheelbase, fuel-injected, nitrous-assisted dragster for the mud. The new red heat machine with the front end in the air for the entire distance stops again within 4 feet of the disqualification mark and runs 2:28 for the #1 spot and the victory at Cincinnati's Riverfront Coliseum. Something unique run at Cincinnati was the unlimited category, and Chuck Stone, one of the true veterans of off-roading in this country. The Razzmatazz Jeep CJ with fuel-injected Chevy power won the unlimited category in front of his hometown crowd, and I don't think we've ever seen Chuck Stone quite as happy as he was at Cincinnati. Elapsed time 2.97 seconds for Chuck in his machine in unlimited class form, but he is still one of the great champions of that class.
Well, Brett, the tension felt at Cincinnati carried through to Baltimore, Maryland, as drivers trying to unseat Tom Martin were facing their last opportunity.
Well, that's the truth, Kelly. At this point in the game, there wasn't much time left to unseat Tom Martin. And as far as Baltimore, Maryland's arena crowd was concerned, they wanted to see the local boys take on the 1988 world champ. But Tom Martin was looking to become the first man ever to win back-to-back super-modified world titles. He drew a very early starting number. The Mud Patrol machine on a nearly perfect path, with Martin shutting down maybe a little bit before the finish line. Again, because of that disqualification zone, he runs 2.18 seconds to set the pace. And for the first time, you don't see that fist through the roof of the car. Tom was concerned. That brought up Ron Smith again, the Gold Fever supercharged Chevy Fiat Topolino fuel holder that had so many times since the inception of that disqualification zone been one of the few people to be thrown out because of it. He leaves the starting line nearly perfectly, drives at full throttle through the shutdown, again goes out of bounds and rolls right into the retaining wall. And Ron was mad. That wasn't the first time it had happened. As a matter of fact, it went that way through the end of the year for that 2,500 horsepower mud racer. The Michigan team had a rough road to hoe. Certainly one of the most impressive performances at Baltimore near the end of the season came from Len Wisniewski, the 1988 USHRA Association Unlimited Class World Champion, who switched over to the super modified ranks with a 3,000-pound racer. He stunned everybody there when he went through on this pass, bouncing off the berms, with a 2.29-second run. That is simply unspeakable for that kind of vehicle weight. And if he puts that motor in a lightweight car, it's going to be incredible. Lee Holtz from Maryland with the Agitator. Nobody really knew that much about him when he pulled up with a supercharger on his big block Chevy for the first time in his life. When he left the starting line like this, everybody stood up. And when he shut down and the elapsed time was announced, everybody went crazy. The Maryland racer at 2.13 seconds gave Tom Martin his second beating in 3 events and won the Super Modified Championship. In the monster truck competition, it was another dogfight. Bigfoot versus Barefoot, just like we saw at Pittsburgh at the beginning of the season. Jim Kramer, Bob Chandler's #1 driver in the Big Blue Ford, put on a driving exhibition that was simply indescribable, beating Schaefer's Barefoot Chevrolet by only 8/100ths of a second for the overall championship with an elapsed time of 11.69. And with that win, they wrapped up the Monster Truck World Championship, even going into the last battle on the U.S. Hot Rod Association National Event Tour. Kelly?
On January 19th, 20th, and 21st, you can experience the thrill of the U.S. Hot Rod, Camel, Mud, and Monster Truck Racing Championships in person at the Kansas Coliseum in Wichita, on January 26th and 27th at the Fairgrounds Arena in Oklahoma City, and the Municipal Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee.
At the U.S. Hot Rod Association's season finale at the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, Illinois, Tom Martin and the Mud Patrol team managed to wrap up that World Championship battle he'd been chasing all year long. Even though he ran a career-best 1.91 seconds, Tom Martin did not win the season-ending event. It was truly an amazing finish to a wild, wild season at Chicago. Kelly was there to talk to the man who has become the first to wrap up back-to-back Super Modified World Championships.
We're talking with Tom Martin. Tom was our 1988 World Mud Racing Champion, and it looks like he's got things pretty well sewn up for 1989. First off, we would like to tell you congratulations on that, Tom.
Well, thanks a lot, Kelly.
And, Tom, everyone has changed to supercharged engines, but you're staying with what you've got. Why?
Well, I'll tell you, the experience that I have with this nitro system has really helped me along. It's real consistent. A lot of the new guys are having problems. We may have to change if everyone else gets their stuff worked out.
Well, now, you are so exciting to watch. What have you got in store for us for 1990?
Well, we're working on a new chassis right now and a new engine. My sponsor, Van Sennis, is helping me out with that. And hopefully we'll have a little surprise about mid-season.
Oh, well, now that's something to look forward to. And good luck to you in 1990.
If you're wondering why Martin's career-best 1.91-second ride didn't win, it was because of this incredible effort by Jeff Ecker's brand-new supercharged American-made Chevrolet. How about 1.81 seconds, the quickest elapsed time in U.S. Hot Rod Association history, in a simply indescribable debut for an awesome new piece of machinery. How much quicker can Acker go? He may be the man that could topple the Tom Martin dynasty set up over the last 2 years. Since the U.S. Hot Rod Association's national elapsed time record this year went from 191 to 188 to 186, now to 181, it's conceivable we'll see runs in the 1 3/4 second territory for 1990. In fact, when we return, details on the announcement that will change U.S. Hot Rod Association racing for the next decade. Stay with us.
Chicago, the U.S. Hot Rod Association made a big announcement that's really going to change things up as far as mud racing and monster truck racing goes in the coming year.
Well, that's for sure, Kelly. For 1990, the series of over 30 U.S. Hot Rod Association Championship mud racing and monster truck events will be bolstered by a huge new sponsorship program by Camel and R.J. Reynolds. And indeed, that new sponsorship program is injecting more money into both monster truck and mud racing competition than has ever been seen. In fact, this new influx of hard, cold cash for the competitors should not only generate better competition and much more machinery, but of course it's going to affect the tremendous crowds that these events are already drawing across the country.
Well, money is definitely a big incentive.
There's no question, and that's what it's going to take to keep this kind of competition up. This is certainly one of the fastest-growing motorsports in the world, and it's not going to slow down. To end our championship season look at 1989, let's take a look at the run that was the quickest ever for our two-time world champion, Tom Martin, on a 1.91-second pass that gives you an indication of just how much horsepower the Mud Patrol machine is putting out. Certainly been our pleasure being with you through 1989, and we look forward to seeing you again in 1990. On behalf of myself, Brett Kepner, Kelly O'Neill, and our producer-director, Steve Cannon, thanks for being with us, and we'll see you at the start of a new dawn and decade in championship mud and monster truck racing. This has been a presentation of SRO Pace Promotions in association with ESPN.